All right. In the name of God, the Almighty, the most merciful. Today we begin the podcast talking about a very important topic that has plagued our society and our youth for generations now, to be honest, and that's our mental health, depression, stuff like that. Um, what does God say about it? How can we seek help in these moments from our faith? That's what we're going to talk about today. And most importantly of all, what is the true causation of the situations and of these feelings that we have? What is actually making us feel depressed? Why is it that our youth are killing themselves on a rate way more than ever before, right? If things have gotten better, people aren't living in stone huts anymore. Why are we so sad? Okay. So, I want to talk about the groundworks of our life, our lives, and what's okay now which never used to be okay. I'm off script right now. I'm not reading anything. I didn't write anything. This is purely from what I've seen. When I used to go to high school, right? When you guys, well, some of you went used to go to high school, we always knew about those people that dressed really badly or were always dating or were always doing sexual things really young, early on, whatever it is, right? And to some extent, there was some judgment for it. However, it also created an atmosphere where if you were one of those people that wasn't dating, that wasn't, that didn't have your firsts in this or that or whatever, you were considered somewhat like a loser. That's the atmosphere of our high school lives. For some of us, we passed that. For some of us, you're in that, and you're going through it right now. You feel like, oh, I have to date this person. Oh, dating is cool. Our young people are more worried about who's dating who, what how much like more open to dressed for the girls than than school itself, than learning itself. It's become insane. Um I live really close to my old high school, so I end up driving around there a lot. It's on the main street, so you everyone's always driving there. And you see, guys, I'm talking girls that are so young. It's so sad. Like that could be your daughter one. That could be your sister. They're dressed so insanely with the excuse that oh, everyone else does it or oh, it's summer. It's become so insane. I was sitting down with one of my coworkers one day and we got into the conversation of like she was going off about some person in high school that she knew who was really trashy. And I started questioning her. I'm like, what do you mean trashy? Like, what does that mean to you? She's like, oh, she always dressed really like she had so much cleavage or something. I'm like, okay, but like, you say that, but then the next day you're gonna go to the beach wearing a bikini. She's like, oh well, at the beach everyone is wearing it, so it's okay. That logic, that right there alone is why we're collapsing as a society. Okay, how does that make any sense to any of us? It's okay because everyone else is doing it. We put rules and regulations on the location, but not on the thing itself, of not on what they're wearing. And what do you think that does to a young man going through puberty when girls show up like that? I don't think the first thing he's thinking about is how loving and caring he's going to be to his wife. No, that's not what he's learning from that. And that's one thing. I think our youth are collapsing because of these societal changes and these norms that are becoming worse and worse and worse. And I'm not telling everyone to go wear a hijab. That's not what I'm saying. But even Orthodox women in Christianity, they covered their hair, they dressed modest. Even Christians back in the day, you can watch videos of London. They were doing interviews with women on the street saying, "Oh, would you wear this dress?" All of them were saying, "No, why would I wear it? It's so open." Right? These things have all collapsed to a point of like no regulation anymore. And guys, what you have to understand, there's a perfect balance between our genders. right? There's a perfect balance. When a woman is super modest, right? That causes a man to act better, to do better in order to match that woman's modesty, right? However, when a girl is super trashy, sleeps with anyone, wears whatever, what does that do for the man? That's the standards that he sets for himself because he can get that girl at that level. It's a very important balance that's falling apart. And what's ended up happening is our worries have shifted. Back in the day in high school, you played sports, you went out, you had fun with your buddies, whatever. For me personally, I played Fortnite. Like that was the peak of my high school. Not to say that I didn't date and everything, which I did only because of peer pressure. I didn't do it because I loved these girls. No, it was stupid. And I regret it every single one of them. It was so stupid. And every time I think back, it's not because of true love. It's not because I was, being a gentleman. No, it was just because everyone else had a girlfriend and I needed to have one too. Our youth are falling apart. And people every day in this community DM me saying, like, oh, I'm really depressed. This happened. This girl did this. And people are losing it. We have no direction anymore. Instead of going through high school thinking about your future, your goals, what you want to do, you're more worried about smoking weed and what girl to go out with. Everything is falling apart. And the only way, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, the only way any of you guys can get through it, or any of you guys can recover from it, is by finding purpose, by finding reason, and that's God. Before you sit there going like, "Oh, my entire friend group they're all dating, so I need a date." Think about like, no, what the fuck? What does God think about this? What does my religion say about this? No, you shouldn't be dating. Our religions both mutually agree that you marry. That's the main goal. And if you're not dating for that reason, then don't do it. Don't make mistakes, because those mistakes, when you lose, when you do make those mistakes, you're never taking it back. When you do things with a random trashy bitch who wears disgusting clothes and shows up without any modesty, that's your first gone. When you find your wife that you love and cherish, you're not going to have those moments with her anymore. And I'm targeting the men here mostly because there's 90% men in here, but that's the truth of it. Find your reason. Stop being depressed over dumb shit. Anyway, we're going to talk about some quotes. This is literally all I wrote. Quotes from How to Deal with Hardship. And I will say, whatever you guys are going through, some of the things that are making you upset has nothing to do with what I said. There's other things in life that put pressures on you. So I'm going to read some quotes to see why do we even go through these hardships, right? So here's one from the Quran, 94 5. For indeed with hardship comes ease. Indeed with hardship comes ease. It's a really short one. There's a lot more context to it, but I need you guys to understand the fundamental reality of life. Whenever you go through a really hard period in your life, it's always going to be followed by a good time, by a good period of time, by the clearing of the rain clouds. That's what it is. Because you need to have hardship for the good stuff to make sense to you, to even exist. Because if everything is just good times, then you don't even like that like I don't know how to explain it, but that becomes the norm. It doesn't become a good time. So the reality of our lives is that to for us to understand how to be grateful, for us to understand how anything makes sense, is we have to go through bad and good, right? So whatever bad you're going through, the main things you have to understand is with faith you can get through it, because it's all a test, and you won't be tested beyond your ability. So have faith and power through. And afterwards, cherish the good times, cherish the people around you. Don't push away people. Don't talk poorly to people, because then it's your fault. The goal of our lives should just be simply to do well when we can, and when things are out of our control, to try our best to make it through. But if you're going through a good time right now, you're going to school, you have friends, you know your family is all healthy and happy, and you're sitting here yelling at your mom or being rude to your dad, then you deserve the bad times. You asked for it, right? When you push away the people that are being good to you or the people around you during those good times, then you don't know how to be grateful for it. I will say another quote from the Bible this time. Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. God's peace. For Philippians 4:6. Do not be anxious about anything, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in God. One more from the Quran. Um, Quran 13:28. Surely in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find true rest. Okay. The main point I'm trying to make, guys, is society around you is collapsing at a rate so fast that you don't even like we can't even save it anymore. And the one thing that you can do is to not partake in that collapse, is to pull yourself out of there. Because a lot of the girls that are going to be around you are with that collapsing society. A lot of your friends are with that collapsing society. And the one thing you can do is pull yourself out and find what truly matters, what your goals are while you're young. And only when you've built yourself, become a good human being, do you search for relationships or things like that. And yeah, this is like when I hear some of you guys tell me like, "Oh, you know, me and my girlfriend are doing this, me and my girlfriend are doing that," and the next week you've broken up with your girlfriend and you're really sad. It happens so much. It's like, what was the point? That time is wasted, gone. It nothing came from it. You didn't learn anything from that. That 1 month relationship, that 2 week relationship didn't change you in any way, shape, or form. Imagine if instead of that, you focused on a hobby, on a skill, built yourself, made yourself more intelligent, read a book instead of going on those useless dates with this girl who's now dating some other dude who's even worse than you. It's like it's a circle. It's a stupid circle, and if you get into it, then you're a stupid human being. And one more thing, guys. One final thing. I told you I'm off script. There's no script here. I'm just mad. One final thing is if you fall into that victim mindset like every other retard around you, then it's over. If you start blaming others, saying, "Oh, all these girls are like this," well, why are you even communicating with them? Why are you putting yourself in those situations? Right? Don't fall into the victim mindset. Everything in your life is in your hands, and you can make yourself better, get yourself out of the system of autism that's going on around you, and finally find reason and purpose. Read the Bible, read the Quran, find faith, find answers through faith, and make decisions with faith and God at the back of your mind 24/7. Don't ever get into something without questioning and judging your actions before with your religion, with the rules of your religion. So one of the most important things. We've talked about it on episode 1. The difference between an animal and a human is that we have a moral judgment check before we do something, right? That's our big thing. We think before we act. And if you don't do that, then you're nothing but an animal. And I'm sorry, you don't deserve to even be a fucking human and to live as a human. All right? Find that balance in your life. Get out of this fucking system because society is collapsing. And just because your parents might be okay with you dating, that doesn't mean it's okay. Because God says to date, to marry, and to start a family, and that's the main goal in your life, to start a beautiful, good family and raise good kids. And how can you raise good kids if you don't even act like a good kid yourself, right? That's all I have to say, guys. Any questions, concerns, comments? You should all be able to talk.